Let's talk about something that has been bothering everyone who watched Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Where was the backup? When the referees blew their whistles and her teammates stood there, nobody stepped up or sent a message, and she was sometimes shoved, slammed, and cheap shot in broad daylight. The good news is that the Fever completely changed the course of the SE season. Indiana didn't just get better, they got meaner. They made roster moves that brought in size, toughness, and championship DNA, and they brought in players who won't just let Caitlin take the hits. They'll hit back. Trust me, this feud is about to get wild, and the rest of the league isn't prepared for what's coming. Stay tuned because we're breaking it all down, and you don't want to miss what happens next. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's quick, easy, and free. It also helps us provide you with even more amazing material, and you'll always be the first to know when we release anything new. Okay? Thank you very much. Let's start by addressing the issue. A first season without any safeguards, Caitlin Clark's rookie season was a baptism by fire. From the first moment she took the court, she experienced a level of physical play that went beyond tough defense and bordered on outright intimidation. She felt like a target, and many players, both active and retired, were jealous of the attention she received. Opponents came at her hard and frequently wanted to make her pay for every point, assist, and bit of media hype she received. At one point during the season, a staggering 77% of all flagrant fouls in the league were committed against her, which goes beyond normal physical play and is a coordinated assault. As the season went on, it became increasingly clear that the Indiana Fever squad lacked a deterrent, whereas other teams had veterans who would step in to shield their stars. Clark had one of the best rookie seasons in WNBA history, scoring 19.2 points per game, 23 points per game after the Olympic break, recording rookie assists, setting a rookie points record, making the first-team All-Star, and finishing fourth in MVP voting despite all the hardship. However, the question is, how much longer could she endure that kind of punishment before it began to affect her game? That's dangerous. Fever and Gamble understood they needed to move quickly, and here is the answer. A brutal roster change was necessary, and the team realized that they needed tough players more than just more skill. They needed players who would not stand by and watch Clark get hit, but would take action to ensure that it didn't happen again. They delivered in spades. This wasn't just about improving, it was also about sending a message that they were done being the league's punching bag. They would no longer stand by and watch as their star was bullied or watch from the sidelines as opponents took cheap shots. This was about respect, and the Fever made it obvious that they would have to earn it by coercion if needed, starting with a coaching raise. Let's face it, the first significant change was the appointment of Stephanie White and the termination of Christy Sides. You could see it on Clark's face during games, his anger, disappointment, and lack of faith in the game plan, that he and Sides were never a good match. Although Sides wasn't a poor coach, she wasn't the ideal one for a generational talent such as Caitlin Clark was released after Sides Clark, a seasoned leader, gently implied that she wasn't receiving the assistance or in-game modifications she required. The 2023 WNBA Coach of the Year is skilled at maximizing her players' potential and put in place a winning strategy. She knows what it takes to succeed at the greatest level and has led successful teams in the past. This was more than simply a coaching change. It was a declaration that the Fever were developing into a contender rather than just aiming for the playoffs. White's very existence alters the culture in which she is revered. When it comes to free agency and team chemistry, with White leading the club, the fact that players want to play for her around the league is revolutionary. My friends, the idea that Indiana is a legitimate contender rather than just a new team figuring things out is frightening to the other WNBA teams. Let's face it, the Indiana last season, Fever needed more than just skill. They also needed grit, fighters, and players who wouldn't give up under duress. And guess what? The front office went out and got just that this offseason. Fever added battle-tested veterans who know how to win and aren't scared to get their hands dirty. These players bring toughness, leadership, and a never-back-down mentality, qualities that this team was lacking last year. Let's meet the new enforcers who are prepared to transform Indiana's culture. Two-time WNBA champion and Defensive Player of the Year Natasha Howard is more than just a defender. She is a lockdown specialist who brings elite defense, rebounding, and a serious demeanor that sets the tone. She has been there, done that, and won championships. If you need someone to step up when it counts, she has you covered, and if you need someone to be tough, she's delivering. Twice, Diana Bonner, the WNBA champion, is tough, talented, and versatile. With her height and scoring prowess, Nails Bonner is a matchup nightmare, but her leadership is what truly sets her apart. She's been through the battles and understands what it takes to win, and when the younger players need direction, she'll be the steady hand to keep them locked in. One of the most formidable opponents in the NBA is Sophie Cunningham. Cunningham isn't just tough, she's fearless. She's the type of player that gets under her opponent's skin, talks her talk, then backs it up with unwavering intensity. She won't back down from anybody, and you can bet Sophie will light the fire if the Fever ever needs one. Elite defensive two-way player Alyssa Thomas is physically strong and unrelenting. Every team needs a player that sets the bar for toughness, and Alyssa Thomas is all of the above. She plays both ends of the floor with the same degree of intensity, and her defensive presence alone will make opponents' lives miserable. That player is Thomas. Jordan, Canada's top defensive guard, intense competitor. If there's one thing that Canada excels at, it's making life a nightmare for opposing guards. She's a defensive threat who never stops pressing the ball and disrupting offenses, and she can also handle playmaking duties when Caitlin Clark needs a break. Last season, the team had talent, but they lacked the veteran presence, toughness, and grit that keeps a team locked in when the game gets tough. With these veterans leading the charge, Indiana is prepared to move forward. Here's what this means for the team. Last season, the Fever played like a young, inexperienced team that didn't quite know how to protect their star. They were mediocre but lacked a true identity. That changes now. It's different this time around because if you've made it this far, it must mean you're truly enjoying the video. So why not take a moment to click the follow button? When Caitlin was drafted, she was the one getting used to the Fever system, or lack thereof, having to find her rhythm, learn on the fly, and take physical punishment game after game. It's totally free, super simple, and helps us keep bringing you more awesome content, especially if you love the WNBA, whether it's game highlights, player spotlights, or behind-the-scenes moments. We got you covered. Plus, by following, you'll never miss a beat when it comes to your favorite teams and players. Go on, tap that follow now. All right, let's jump back in everything the Fever did this offseason. Every move they made was to ensure that Caitlin Clark has the best possible environment to thrive. She's no longer the new kid on the block trying to fit in. She's the cornerstone, the leader, the player. This franchise is now built around the new players coming in. They're not just joining a team, they're stepping into Caitlin's system. They know her value, they respect her game, and they're here because they believe in what she can do. And they're not just here to watch her score, they're here to protect her, support her, and elevate her game. That changes everything. This psychological shift is massive. Last season, the Fever were reacting to situations. This season, they'll be dictating the pace, they'll be setting the tone, taking control, and making opponents think twice before stepping onto the court, and that's exactly what a championship team does. So, what's the impact? Everything changes with added protection, less physical wear and tear, and better play calling. Although Clark's stats could soar, the dynamic of the entire squad will change. Let's break down exactly what this means for the Fever. Clark can play more freely knowing that she has teammates who have her back. She no longer has to brace for impact every time she drives to the hoop. Opponents will think twice before taking cheap shots, knowing that retaliation is coming because you hit Clark. This team isn't just getting better, they're becoming something dangerous that other teams will fear. Imagine this: Clark stepping onto the court knowing that she's not alone, knowing that she's surrounded by teammates who won't just play alongside her, but will fight for her. That confidence changes everything. The Fever now has genuine championship hopes, so be prepared for Howard, Cunningham, or Bonner to make you regret it. No longer only a tenacious underdog, Indiana is putting together a team that expects to win every night. They're deeper, stronger, and ready for war. A team that was once a one-woman show now has multiple weapons ready to contribute at all times. A more versatile lineup gives them strategic flexibility against any opponent. They can go big, they can go fast, they can adjust on the fly, something they struggled with last season. This is more than just a couple of roster tweaks, these are game-changing. Moves that make Indiana a serious problem for the rest of the league. And if the other teams aren't paying attention, yet they will be soon. The Fever's offseason moves weren't just about improving, they were about sending a message. They're done being pushed around, they're done letting teams take shots at Caitlin without repercussions. This is a team that's coming into the season with something to prove, and they're not afraid to ruffle feathers along the way. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about building a winning culture in Indiana, whether you love her or hate her. The Fever are tired of being underappreciated and ignored, and they have finally found the right pieces to change the narrative. They are here to win, and they are bringing a toughness, a swagger, and an energy that have been lacking from this franchise for far too long. Let's face it, this is fantastic for the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's pursuit of a title is just what the league needs. More rivalries, excitement, and eyes on the game. This is what makes basketball so amazing. So prepare ready for an incredible season filled with high emotions and haters who will be going crazy. Every game will feel like must-watch TV, and every victory will quiet the skeptics a bit more. That's about it. The rest of the WNBA needs to pay attention because Caitlin Clark and the Fever have really stepped up. This team is coming with fire, grit, and no tolerance for nonsense, and I'm ready for it. Now, I'm going to hear from you. Is this the team that finally pushes Indiana to the top, or is there still work to be done? Leave your thoughts in the comments section, and let's start this discussion. Oh, and before you leave, press the like button, hit subscribe, and enable alerts so you don't miss any updates. We've got amazing material for you all season long. That's all I have to say. I'll see you at the next one, so stay focused and excited.